Bula. Hello there, everybody. Jonathan and Lynnette here, coming to you on this beautiful day.
In Fiji.
And you should be here with us.
You should.
Because you can get here by way of our Art of Health Restoration.
Oh, go to fuelforthebody.net, click on the Art of Restoration tab. That's where you'll find out a lot more information about it.
About how you can be here and how you can live the happy life that Jonathan and I live, and how you can retrain your brain, which is viewing things differently in life so that you can live a happy, abundant, and prosperous life. Also, at the same time, I will teach you nutrition, how to reverse diseases, how to cure diseases, how to reverse ailments, and how to prevent those ailments from ever happening in the first place.
It can all be done by the food we eat, right?
Exactly. So we'll teach you all of that with the Art of Health Restoration, how to sculpt your body, mind, and spirit. So for those of you that are just now getting acquainted with us, you will know that we always start our videos off with a happy note so you can get your happy cells going on, and then we'll go into our details of our life experiences, elaborations on the two subjects at hand today. But first, get your happy thoughts going. We're
zippy, 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 zappy, 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 H-A-P-P-Y.
We're happy. We're happy. You're happy. We're all happy. Let's do it 2 more times. We're zippy, 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 zappy, 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 H-A-P-P-Y. We're happy. We're happy, and we're all happy. 1 more time. Zippy, 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 zappy, 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 H-A-P-P-Y. We're happy, and you're happy. Because happy cells make
healthy, harmonious cells.
That's right. So whether you are on here saying, oh, good Lord, what are they doing? Those are 2 wild and crazy idiots. No, we're not idiots at all. But some people may say that, you know. But if you do, or you're making fun of us, or you're just saying, oh, here they are again. Yay, we got our happy factor on. You're laughing at us. And that's the whole point of this, is to be laughing, to get your cells happy so that you can boost your immune system. Because it really does boost your immune system. It's been proven to cure cancer.
Yeah, proven facts, guys. Like, this is stuff that actually changes everything inside your body. How you react, like your attitude about the, about everything. And, like, it's going to determine whether you go one way or the other, good or bad, up or down, So just try and stay happy and stay positive in every chance you can.
Yep, it's the same as a water test. You've heard about the water test, where you have 2 jars of water and you put one in one room, one in another room, and you talk really mean and hateful to this one jar in water.
Yep.
And you talk really loving, kind thoughts and appreciation to the other jar of water, and you can see the miraculous difference that each one of them have. Totally different chemical makeups is what it is.
Just
so the same thing with happy cells.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Getting down to a cellular level. So that's all we're doing, just to get your body going, to get your vibes going, your energy up, and boost your immune system so that you can be better prepared to take on the world.
Yep, that's it.
And look at problems as what? Not problems.
Nope. Solutions.
No problems. We all have solutions to all of our problems. And so if you all have been watching some of our other YouTube channels, we give information about nutrition, about the happy factor, about different tips you can do to start retraining and resculpting your brain. And we also have food items on here. And we will be talking about everything from nutrition to health to wealth, because health is what?
Wealth.
Wealth. Always. You can have anything that you desire, as long as it's within alignment of the planet, God, and your higher being, humanity.
Right.
And you can always have that if you're healthy.
Right.
If you're not healthy,
you got nothing.
There's not a lot that you can do. So we teach you how to do that. And speaking of world happenings, we also teach you how to shield yourself and how to prepare. We are not here to have a fear factor put in your head. We're not here to scare you.
Sorry.
No, not at all. We are not here to say, stick your head in the sand. We don't want to know what's going on. Because even though we are the happy duo, we know what's going on out there in the world. We know what different things are coming. The CERN, the Mandela effect, the wars going on, the government issues, just all of that. It can be very bad, but it's also the way that we view things, right?
Right. It's all the perception you have on it, and the way you look at it. A lot of stuff's not half as bad as you want to, as they want to pronounce it to be. But there still are things you definitely want to look at and be aware of and know how to handle them. We're here to help you with that.
Absolutely. We're here to give you our expertise from our experiences on how you can see things in a whole new light, all at the same time, knowing that you just can't happy it all away.
Right.
We also know that people out there have real problems. They're real people. We are real people, just like you. And we are about to share those experiences, a couple of those experiences, and how we both overcame those obstacles to show you how you can do the same as well. And this is just one of our many experiences that we will be sharing over a series of all of our YouTube videos. So please stay tuned. While you are at it, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, be sure and do that now. Subscribe, click like, and share our message with the world, because somebody out there could be hurting, somebody out there could be depressed, they could be in dire straits, and this could be the information that they need to uplift them and turn their lives completely around.
That's right. That's what we're here for.
That's
for
exactly
all humanity. That's what we're all here for, is to help one another, you know, and teach each other along the way all the life experiences we have learned along our journey, and try to help, you know, the person next to you.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be discussing a couple of issues. One issue that Jonathan experienced and one issue that I have experienced out of our many. But this one that I'll be discussing is talking about my son with a rare disease that was considered uncurable. It was an uncurable disease. There was no cure in sight, in which he endured 28 surgeries with 7 different surgeons and 2 near-death experiences. And also during this process, we found out, and it was our link, my son's link, and the doctor that cured him, who actually gave Merck Pharmaceutical the ammunition that they needed to create the almighty Gardasil vaccination. So if you don't know how Gardasil was created, why, where, or when, I do have that answer. My story was shut up, and I was told and threatened years ago when we created this foundation, the Cotipate Foundation for Respiratory Papillomatosis, and I was told what to do and what not to do. So this message has actually been suppressed for many years, so stay tuned. And Jonathan will be speaking about...
Yeah, I'm going to be talking to you a lot about my, you know, I had a horrific car accident a week after I graduated high school, and that really changed and altered my life in every way, you know. And there's big things happen in your life, you know, and stuff happens to you, but there's 2 ways to look at it, right? You can look at it in a bad, negative way, and look at it in a happy way, a positive way, and you can take those and learn from them and grow in your life, and I'm going to be speaking to you more about those issues.
That's right, so stay tuned, and here we go. So I will go first, I guess. So we mentioned a little bit about my son in previous videos, and I just did a blog on that a couple of days ago. And by the way, you can read this information to have it a little bit more clear at fuelforthebody.net, and click on my blog roll, and you'll find all tweezers are not asthmatic. So click on that blog and you'll find more details about this information. But to sum up a 15-year journey, my son was born with this awful disease. Only I didn't know it. He was the quietest baby. He was so cute. So this is for all of you new parents out there who may have their child diagnosed with croup, asthma, bronchitis, or even reflux. That is a lot of diagnoses that they gave my son that were not accurate diagnoses. So this could save your child's life, because this is called respiratory papillomatosis, and they call it recurrent respiratory papillomatosis, which is also known as the HPV virus, the human papillomavirus. Yeah, but there is a big, huge misconception in what the human papillomavirus is. You know, they've scared us. Yeah, saying that it's sexually transmitted, and that's how they came out with the Gardasil. Well, I am about to shed some light on this and how it's all totally opposite. The mirror image of what you have been hearing and seeing is actually not as it has appeared. So the human papillomavirus, there is about 3% of that is accurate out there. Literally. We can find this information through Dr. Nigel Pashley's research. He was the all-curing doctor for my son, Coti. And but just to back up a little bit, like I said, he was born with this disease, and we didn't know. He was the quietest baby. He didn't cry much. When he did, he was just wah. I mean, literally, he just went, wah. I was like, oh my gosh, isn't he just so cute? How awesome is that? We lived in Memphis, Tennessee, and he did have a very good pediatrician, so I thought, and we took him for his checkups all the time. And I just wondered, oh, he's such a quiet baby. Well, some babies are just quiet criers. Okay, cool. This is really awesome.
Perfect.
And he didn't wake me up at night, which could be very scary. I was very fortunate. It was a God thing, I'm telling you, because more children die from this disease than heart-related or AIDS combined. More children die from this, and they usually die before they reach age 4 because they can't communicate very well. They strangle in their sleep, and that's where they have uncovered a lot of SIDS, sudden infant death syndromes. They've actually went back and uncovered those, and they have linked it to respiratory papillomatosis because it strangles you in your sleep, and that's why most children die before age 4. And we've had some incidents of people dying later. We actually lost 4 children in 1 year after we discovered all of this, or brought it to light. It was already discovered, but after we started doing the research and we came up with this foundation. So we lost 4 children in 1 year, and it was very sad, and it made me very angry at the time because I knew there was this cure. But anyway, that's the second half of the story. But he was a quiet crier, took him to the pediatrician all the time, and then he was a little bit raspy in his cry as he got older, like 6 months, 8 months, a year old. And by the time he was a year old, it was just very raspy. And they should be talking by the time they're a year old, right? It was just very, just very, very quiet. And then it was very raspy. And it all during this 12 months, I took him every 3 months to the doctor. He was diagnosed, well, maybe he has croup. Let's do this. Well, he could be a little bit asthmatic. Let's do this. No. Oh, he could be colicky. It's just colic is what it was.
Yeah.
So I kept doing this. Well, so the months went on, the year went on, and then we were in Florida, and I was with a friend, and she had a friend over there, and which was a nurse. And so he was laying down, and she was holding him, and she's like, Lynnette, something just doesn't sound right or feel right with your son. And I'm like, well, he's fine. He's been diagnosed with this, this, and this, but he seems to check out fine after that. Everything's great. No, he's fine. No, something's really wrong with your son. I think you need to have him checked out when you get back. And I'm like, okay, when we get back to Memphis, we'll have him checked out. So we went back to Memphis, went to Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, took him in there for a checkup. That day, I was literally blasted out of the hospital. Literally, the doctors told me that I was a bad mom. I was a horrible mom because I didn't bring him in. He had 96% of his air passage blocked. And so they blasted me out of the hospital because I was young. You know, I was 20 years old. And I was stupid. I should have never did that. They were thinking about calling Department of Children's Services on me because I was such a bad mom. You go talk to his doctor. I was very ugly at that time. I was like, no, you can go talk to Dr. Bubba Edwards. That's who his doctor is. That's who his pediatrician is. I do my due diligence, do this, this, and this. And I just went off on them. And I thought, I'll be damned. I am never going to have anybody tell me that I'm a bad mom. Again, this is not going to happen. No. So they told me he had this condition called respiratory papillomatosis. They had to go in there for emergency surgery and clear his air passage. And he would have surgeries for a very long time, they said. And I'm like, that just doesn't sound right. So needless to say, I went in and I blasted his pediatrician out. Told him what I think, what I thought, and how to cut cabbage. And so I was you think this red hair is pretty wild now?
Yeah, I know it is.
Those many years ago, it was pretty wild. I didn't hold anything back. It was like, you do me wrong, you mess with my kids, my family, I'm going to let you know it. So anyway, as the months went on, so I went and told him what it was all about. So, of course, I didn't stop anywhere. I went to the next doctor. Went to Le Bonheur Children's Hospital again. Went to ear, nose, and throat doctors. Had him, I wasn't satisfied with that. So, obviously, over the years, I went through 7 different ear, nose, and throat doctors. And they were all diagnosing him pretty much the same. But one doctor would say, well, he's got reflux. This was by the time he was age 5. I'm like, yeah, I don't think he has reflux. No, I think I would know it. He's 5, and I think he would know it too. Right. Well, he has this along with his respiratory papillomatosis. And so they would keep doing these surgeries. They would do the laser surgeries, and they would do the scraping surgeries, because that's all I knew. Get him help to get him relief so he could breathe.
Right.
So, and that was during the first years of him nearly dying, the first time, because after that just really progressed the papilloma, and it made them explode even more. And so he started to have surgeries more often. And so when he was young, he nearly didn't make it to the ambulance in time because he was strangling. Then the second time he nearly died, he was actually 14 years old. Actually, he was 13 and a half. I'm sorry. He was 13 and a half years old. And he just, 14, whatever half number, oh, sorry, Coach, you're 13 and a half. And so he was literally banging his head on the wall. He couldn't talk. His face was blue. And this was because, the reason why I almost died this time is because of that one doctor. When he was 13, this other doctor that he took to was a 7th surgeon that we took him to. And he said, no, your son has acute asthma, and he does have a slight case of reflux, and we're going to give him Prevacid. And I said, no, you are not. And this doctor literally told me, and he looked me in the eyes, he said, you are the mother I am the doctor. I know what's best for your son. And I said, no, you don't. He doesn't have this and he doesn't have that. And why would I want to give him Prevacid? That's just a steroid to pump him up. Why would I want to do this? Just didn't make sense to me. But against my better judgment, because I was coerced, I was threatened basically, and I was called another, imbecile, in other words, I went ahead and said, well, what if I'm wrong? Okay, I'm not a doctor. Maybe let me just get this Prevacid and give it to him.
Yep.
Gave him the Prevacid. And, of course, this doctor said, and you'll see a big, huge change in him. I did.
Well, I bet you did.
He almost died. Literally, he almost died. Didn't think that and if you know anything about Memphis, from one side of the town to the other, it's a 45-minute drive. And so we didn't live anywhere near that emergency room. And so it was a very long ambulance ride. So anyway, that was the second time he nearly died. And that was the time that I said, you know what? I was not very nice that day either. And so I blasted everybody in that office. I said, you all are POSs. That's what you are. And I am not going to sit, and this is before we had the internet prevalent like we do now. I was always doing research. I was going to the library. I was going to the doctor's, their library, and I was going to the hospital libraries. I was getting all the information about this disease that I could. And so, like I said, this was going on for 13 years. Surgery after surgery, worry after worry. And during all these 13 years, he was on the swim team. Well, wanted to be on the swim team, but he couldn't swim the laps of the pool. So we had to pull him out because his lungs would collapse. So we would pull him out of the pool and okay, whenever you get better, you can swim. He would try to play basketball, and he played basketball. It was pretty good, but he couldn't yell. He couldn't speak. We had to do sign language, and so all he could do was clap. He was made fun of growing up. All the guys made fun of him because, all the girls loved him because he had just the sweetest little raspy voice. But, kids will be kids. Yeah. Boys will be boys. He was very much just kidding, Meg. He was very much made fun of, and I just wanted to beat the stew out of each one of those, and I'd call their mom. So anyway, he was made fun of. He was pulled out of the pool. He couldn't run very much. He did play soccer. He was very good at that because it didn't require any vocal or a lot of strenuous breathing and stuff. But he did do that, and so that was all, growing up through his life. And during this, we'll lead into another subject. So you want to stay tuned to our next YouTube video, which will entail what went on during all of these surgeries with his biological dad. That is a whole different story that you do not want to miss that episode. I can guarantee it. It will help a lot of you out there, whether you are male or female. It will help a lot of your situations, and you will be able to overcome your obstacles as well. So anyway, during all of this time, that's what happened. He was 13 years old. I blasted the doctors out of the hospital, told them what I thought. Look, you all are good at putting Band-Aids on him. You're good at doing this. You all had the best information anywhere. I'm in one of the best cities to have all of these surgeries and everything on. How is it that you cannot cure my son? There's got to be a cure. Of course there's a cure. Back then, oh no, he'll have surgeries for the rest of his life, or he'll die. Or he'll have surgeries for the rest of his life, or he'll die, or he'll have surgeries for the rest of his life, and he still may die. Gee, I didn't like those two outcomes. No. Didn't like them at all. And that's when I said, you've got to be kidding me. There's somebody else in this whole big wide world that can help my son. You are an idiot. You don't give me any more than 2 minutes of your time. And as a matter of fact, his name was Dr. Randy Lazar. That was one of the last surgeons. And we actually did get him barred from Memphis, Tennessee. He could no longer practice because he was doing way too many surgeries. And by doing too many surgeries, that was, after word got out. Yeah. So that's a completely different story, right. Another episode. But anyway, we did happen to get that doctor disbarred from Memphis, Tennessee. And then, so after I spent 2 hours ranting and raving in that hospital and told them I was going to turn every one of them in, and this is, I'm going to file lawsuits, blah, blah, blah. So they came back in there and they said, well, okay, Lynnette, we have come up with a possible answer. I'm like, what do you mean a possible answer? They said, well, there's this other doctor that we've been in touch with for the past 5 years. Wait a minute, hold on. You've been in touch with him for the past 5 years and you didn't tell me about it? Well, that's because he does things alternatively, and he doesn't really do things the way we would recommend in the Western medical world. But he is a Western doctor, and he does practice in Presbyterian St. Luke, but he's pretty much a quack doctor. Oh, really now? But you're going to tell me about him. Well, he's been doing some experimental work, and so maybe he might be suited to help your son. Wow, really? Give me his name and number now. You know what? I will deal with you all later. Right. Very mad, very angry. So literally, this was on a Saturday. I called Dr. Pashley the next Monday, and he stayed on the phone with me for over 45 minutes. That's unheard of in the medical world.
Right.
Unheard of. You just don't do that. You get 2 minutes of their time. And he practically diagnosed Coachy over the phone. Told me what he had, respiratory papillomatosis, and why the other doctors were missing it. And so he told me a little bit about the disease over the phone. 2 weeks later, we were on a plane out to see Dr. Pashley in Denver, Colorado. And in Denver, he literally spent another 2 hours with our family, explaining to us and showing us what this disease was, how it manifested,
awesome.
and what he could do about it.
Good.
And I was like, oh my gosh. So this led to him explaining us how it was experimentational and that none of the doctors like him. The Western world doesn't like him because he doesn't typically prescribe prescription drugs and all that stuff. And so he was able to get rid of this disease. He had a 99% cure rate. He couldn't claim 100% cure. But he was from Switzerland, and they did a lot of experiments over there. So what they did was, they used the mumps and measles virus. Not the vaccine, but they did the mumps and measles virus because they did studies, and they did studies on warts, because papillomatosis is kind of like warts on your vocal cords. And it's kind of similar to what singers get, opera singers mainly, or singers in general. They get nodules on their vocal cords. They have to take a break and all that good stuff. And so it's kind of mimics that, only it's the virus, the human papilloma virus, that manifests in mucous areas. And so it's on your vocal cords, in your lungs, and in the esophagus. And that's where Coachy's was, and that's where all these children's are. It's not just on their vocal cords. That's what sets it aside from just polyps. So it's papillomatosis. And so it's all through his lungs and his esophagus. And he told us why, because the other doctors in Memphis were only diagnosing him from the throat up. They were not doing the rest of it to say where they had manifested, or if they were not telling us about it. So he let us know. I think our battery's about to go out. You want to go get the extension cord? That would be a good thing. And I'll just continue talking, and then Jonathan will be back with his story in a couple of minutes. And so Dr. Pashley was very diligent, and he said, okay, so what we do is we literally inject the mumps and measles virus into each of the papilloma and to the nodules that are growing. It's not like an injection in the arm or the leg, and it's not the vaccination. It's literally the mumps and measles virus strand, because what they were finding was that a good virus will attack the bad virus. It will overcome, because good always outweighs bad, right? And so not that the mumps and measles is a good thing, but the way it's used, it is dominant over the bad infectious virus that will literally grab hold and mutate everywhere. So he injected it into the lungs, the vocal cords, and the esophagus. However, he needed 45 ampules, but 45 ampules of that would kill you. So he could only get 7 ampules at a time. So therefore, we did have 7 more procedures by Dr. Pashley over a period of a year and a half. And he did have to be put to sleep. So that, yes, they were surgical, but in a very much lighter manner and more of a curing approach, as opposed to the non-curing, is what they told me. So he did this, and oh my goodness, this was the most amazing recovery that anyone had ever seen, because he was literally he was cured, and he is cured. That's on a lighter note. But after his first surgery, I mean, he was able to talk after a few weeks, that went by. And he was able to, I mean, the story is really heart-wrenching and heartbreaking, because heard his voice for the first time. And so, of course, that was like, okay, this doctor did what I knew could be done and what the other doctors were suppressing from me. So I was like, wow, the world has got to know about this cure. The world has got to know about this, and I'm going to be the one to tell everybody, because these doctors have made me so mad.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them know how awesome this doctor is. And Dr. Pashley said, well, Lynnette, I admire you, and this is great. Maybe I can ride on your skirt tails, because they won't listen to me, because I'm just a doctor and they won't let me do certain things. But maybe you're a mom. Maybe I can just ride on your skirt tails, and we can make some things happen, because we do need the mumps and measles virus, because I'm running low on it. And they're running low in America, and Merck and Eli Lilly are the ones who are the makers of it, of the vaccine.
Nice.
And they're the ones that have the say-so on whether they can get it exported over. So, however, in the vaccine form, you have to have it patented, right? Because vaccines are boo. thumbs down, because they put everything and anything in vaccines. I mean, really, do you want to inject yourself with all of these chemicals and bioweapons that you have no idea of what is even in there? No, that's another story. We'll talk about that in another discussion. But so he's like, well, we just need this. So I said, okay, Dr. Pashley, we're going to have this big press conference in Memphis. We're going to invite all of Cochise doctors. We're going to invite the vice president of Lebanon. We're going to invite the scientist from New Jersey that I ran across with that can present information on this disease as well, and you can be there as our #1 speaker, and we're just going to say, hey, we've got the cure, and we need this, this, and this, and we're going to help all of these babies all around the nation. Okay, great, Lynnette, that's awesome. So that's what I did, because I was still younger at that time, and I was, didn't really care what I said, but I didn't kind of miss something about cure word. Oh yeah, my hair, the wind's out here kind of blowing my hair all crazy. And so I did. We had this press conference, invited all the people that I said, but only one of Cochise 7 surgeons showed up. Of course, Dr. Pashley came in on his own dime. Merck Pharmaceutical showed up, with one of their representatives. The scientists from New Jersey came, and we had the press conference and the news media there. So there is when we presented our case, showed them what all these doctors were doing and could not do, showed them what Dr. Pashley could do. Dr. Pashley had his spiel, and he gave us his whole presentation in a booklet form. And so about a couple of weeks later, as we did all the research and found out, exactly how we could get this virus over, I called Merck Pharmaceutical, who was there. Look, this is what we need. You heard the presentations. You saw the lifelong stories. You've seen all the obstacles and the children that are dying. If we can get this over here, we can disperse it through all the doctors everywhere, and we can have cures for the kids. Well, they said, well, while we admire you, Lynnette, that's just not possible. Yes, it is. You have it. We need it here. These kids need it. They're relying on you. Dr. Pashley needs it. Well, we just cannot do that right now. Yes, you can. You have the mumps and measles virus. What's wrong with you? You need it. Well, it's not in a vaccine form, and we have to have it in the vaccine. That's how we are able to distribute it. And about the 3rd time of them telling me no, it wasn't that they couldn't do it. It was that they wouldn't do it.
Right.
No, they wouldn't do it. And that's whenever it dawned on me. Oh, my God. They're going to let these children die. They don't care about children living. They don't want the cure. And that was the wrong word for me to say. And that's when we started the foundation, the Cote Pate Foundation for Respiratory Papillomatosis, in which they made it very, very hard for me, especially in Memphis. You're competing with all those hospitals over there. And that's whenever they told me I was speaking out too much, that I needed to be careful of what I said. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to tell everybody and anybody, this is a cure. And then whenever different things came in that I shouldn't be talking about, I was like, well, maybe I won't then. I'll just, keep this to ourselves, and we'll help the people under the table. And that's what I did, and that's why this message didn't get out to the world like it should have years and years ago. So for that, I do apologize. But I'm doing my best to get that message out to everybody. So if your child suffers from asthma, croup, bronchitis, reflux, be sure and triple or quadruple check that. And so that's where the almighty Gardasil was born, the human papillomavirus, where they scared everybody. They wanted all these girls to get injected with the Gardasil vaccine. That is crazy. No, that is a lie. It's the biggest farce in medical history. I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's one of the biggest. I mean, there's been so many farces out there. It's hard to keep up with. The Gardasil was derived, and Dr. Pashley was so mad, which, by the way, we cannot find Dr. Pashley now. We thought he went back to Switzerland. Can't find him over there. His office is like a ghost town. Other doctors run it now, and nobody seems to know where Dr. Pashley is. They never have even heard of him. Nobody's heard of him. But yet he was in Denver, Colorado for years, 15 years. Okay, but he's not there. Anyway, another story. So they took a paragraph. They took a sentence out of this paragraph, a sentence out of this paragraph, a sentence out of this paragraph, and a sentence out of this paragraph. Probably about 20 sentences out of each of Dr. Pashley's research paragraphs. Because he did list, okay, it's a human papillomavirus. Okay, this is how the human papillomavirus mutates and transfers itself. It's through the mucous membranes. It manifests itself in all the mucous membranes, and he named all of them, and one of them was, obviously cervix. That's mucous area. Okay, oh good, we got cervix. Okay, and then the way this is also manifested, it can be transferred from human to human, meaning mother to child. 9 out of 10 times whenever a child is born with a deadly virus, or a virus of any caliber, it doesn't have to be deadly, but just a virus. I'm not talking about any disease. I'm just talking about a viral disease. 9 out of 10 is always the firstborn. You want to know why?
Why?
because the firstborn grabs all the toxins that the mother had. So if you're very healthy, yay!
Yeah,
if you're very toxic, like I was growing up on Monsanto farmland, I thought I was healthy, but I wasn't because I had all the pesticides, the GMOs, and all of that. So I passed on all these toxins, not to mention all the toxicity that I had built up through my kidneys. So the firstborn child grabs everything that the mother has, and there's no room for the second or third child. You know, it's pretty much cleansed the mother out. You know, and the second and third child has a very rare chance of getting that disease.
Right.
So, okay, it's transmitted from human to human. And in one strand of 1% of some cases, it could turn cancerous. Oh, wow. And as we know, all viruses can be sexually transmitted. That's another way from human to human.
Right.
Okay, duh, all viruses can be sexually transmitted. It's a virus. What else do you expect? That's how you transmit things, people. Right. That's how it is. So, bingo, they've got, ooh, it's human papillomavirus. Oh, it manifests in the cervix.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be sexually transmitted. Oh my God, it turns to cancer. Wow, we've got a live one on us this time. Merc, let's beam me up, Scotty, because we have got a new moneymaker, Gardasil, and that's where Gardasil was born, HPV. Wow. And so they told me to shut up and told me that I did not know what I was talking about, went on different news medias, and I was completely censored and shut up. So for those of you that need to know, this is the truth. I was there. Coty was there. And this is how the almighty Gardasil was born to kill your children with. And that is the truth. Cold truth and nothing but the truth. But to say all of this, we went through all of this experience year after year after year, not knowing if my son was going to make it, not knowing if he was going to survive to the next surgery, not knowing if he was going to survive the next year, not knowing if he was going to wake up the next morning. I mean, every year, every day, that was always on the back of our minds. I refused to think about it because I always looked up and looked to the light and knew that, you know, great things were going to happen.
Yep.
And so he was actually one of the fortunate ones. Like I said, he had the slower aggression part, which kept him alive because we were able to fight it off. And the ones that die, unlike my son, is because they had the faster aggression right off the bat, and because they were misdiagnosed also, or because they said they didn't need their surgery right then, and they actually did need that surgery. I don't condone any surgeries, but for that, without knowing all the information that I have now, that's all that I knew to get surgeries. That's all I knew to have these kids to get surgeries so they could relieve their air passage. But now we know how to prevent that disease. We know how to cure that disease. And on a lighter, awesome, happy note, Coty is alive and thriving.
Oh, yeah.
Alive
Doing
and
very
thriving.
well. He's
amazing,
organic
isn't he?
chef.
Yeah, organic chef Coty, and he is a yacht chef. He is walking the walk, talking the talk.
Awesome.
He overcame all odds. And in fact, after he was well, the first thing that he asked Dr. Pashley after he woke up from his last surgery, can I go swim? Can I run? You can do whatever you want to do. He did. He went to the swim team, and he actually qualified for the Junior Olympics. Then he almost, by 1 second, was going on to qualify for the state championships, which is above the Junior Olympics. But then he had a crossroads. I can go to college early before I graduate, or I can go and swim. He had a love for culinary, so he chose college, and that's what he's doing. So he's rocking the world of the culinary degree and overcame all of the obstacles, overcame all of the no's, all of the naysayers, and he said, I'm going to do this. This is not how my story is going to end, and I am going to help my mom fight this disease because I believe in everything. I believe in the good, and that's what Coty did, and that's what you can do. And I didn't stop. I did not take yes for an answer. Yes, this is what your son has. Yes, this is his fate. Yes, this is all we can do for him. So sometimes don't take yes for an answer. Right. Keep going and keep going and keep researching. Research the research. Question the questions and question all authority. I don't care who they are. Question them, question them, question them. And stay steadfast, stay grounded, and just keep looking up and keep the faith. And whenever all dire straits are going on and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, there will be. I'm not saying that people do not die. And I'm not saying that none of these children will die if you keep the faith, but there are certain things that you need to do. And that's how I teach you to manifest and to get your body healed with good and proper nutrition. So that is the story of a huge obstacle that I overcame and was on eggshells all during this time. And Coty overcame from all the detriments in his life to alive and thriving, a walking, breathing, living example, disease-free, surgery-free from an uncurable disease. And during all of that, we were battling with some horrific events of his biological father, and you won't want to miss that episode on one of our other YouTube channels. So stay tuned for that one as well. So I will turn the stage over to Jonathan, and he can let you know his obstacles. Obstacle.
That was pretty hard. I mean, that's amazing. That's just, you know, tremendous to hear those obstacles you have to go through, you know, and it's just, that's some of the cards that we get dealt in life. You know, we get choices on how we get to, you know, react to them, and that's how our next steps unfold, right? Is how we react to our previous interactions or things that get thrown our way. But for me, I had a thing. I was a very good athlete in school. I played football, basketball, baseball, all-star athlete, and all that. And I was going to college.
He was one of those ladies' men.
No,
he was just out there doing everything.
I was gonna go. Had a full ride scholarship. I was gonna go play college baseball, you know. And 1 week after I graduated high school, I got into this bad car accident. You know, really horrible. And then, mind you, the week before this car accident, I was going 150 miles an hour. And
you couldn't drive 55.
Or no, I was going 120 in a 60, but I went to jail. That, you know, this is the week before. But anyways, the week when I had that accident, I just have to tell the story. Okay, I was at a friend's house, and we were all over there. We were just, you know, having fun, watching a video, playing cards and stuff. And my friend's girlfriend pulled up in her dad's GTO with an LS2 Corvette engine in it. Oh my gosh, I heard that, and I was just, my whole body started shaking. I'm going, oh yes, this is so great. This is my opportunity. And I went out there, and, you know, because the previous, you know, the week before, spending the time in jail for speed, nobody wanted to go with me. I didn't want to go alone. I was like, let me take your car. She goes, nope, not going to happen. I'm not going to let you do it. She goes, I don't have any gas. She goes, sorry. I said, no, that's fine. Here, I'll give you $20 for gas. Just let me take you down the road a mile and come back. So then I went and said, hey, anybody want to go with me? Nobody wanted to, but Stephen Wallace, really good friend of mine. Hey, Stephen. He said he'd go with me, so he did. And we went down the road a mile, turned around, came back. It was going about, you know, 140, 150, and flipped the car, ran off the road. We were going up this big hill, and when I was going up the hill, there was a slight corner on the top, and I didn't realize it, and I jerked it too hard and ran off the road and flipped it end for end. Okay, and whenever we were in that car, what happened to me, I had spun in my seatbelt 3 complete times, like literally in the seat and spun around, you know, 3 times. So I was constricted to the car. I had shaken baby syndrome for an adult. My brain had sloshed around my skull, you know, and my arm, it went out the window. I don't know if you can see, I don't have any bone in this arm from my shoulder or my elbow. This is all titanium. Broke my neck in 3 places. Both of my lungs collapsed. I had a stomach tube. I had a tracheotomy, as you can see, and I had to have a tube put down my throat to breathe. I couldn't breathe on my own. I could not breathe on my own. I could not, you know, go to the restroom by myself. It was just very, very tragic experience. But what I ended up doing was I was in a coma for 15 days right after the accident had happened. From the moment of the accident to the waking up in the hospital. And then after I woke up from that coma, they put me in a medically induced coma for another, for another few days. It was 2 months total. For 2 months total, yeah. And then, you know, just the doctors, what they told my parents, my family, and everything, you know, what had happened was I had a traumatic brain injury. It's the 4th cranial nerve damage on the back of the eyes. Okay, I had to relearn how to walk, to talk, to breathe, to go to the bathroom again, all that, right? It was like starting over again, you know. They'd seen this exact injury that I had acquired in Springfield, Missouri, and Cox South 9 times. The whole time the hospital's been there only 9 times. And of those 9 times, 1 guy had survived, and he was a vegetable for the rest of his life. Okay, so the percentages of those, I had a 25% chance to live and a 5% chance that I would not be a vegetable for the rest of my life. Okay, now, I'm in the hospital, right, and these guys I've got posters of all my, you know, baseball, basketball, football, all my friends, everything, all around. You know, I had a really good support from my Avon, Missouri, from my hometown, and all my family and friends. Love you all. Thank you so much. And had that all posted up there on the wall, and I was just looking at it, just, you know, really wondering what was going to happen to me, because I really didn't even know what was quite going on yet. But all I know is I had doctors coming and walking in there telling me, well, son,
And could you hear this? Were they coming
Oh,
in
yeah,
there?
no, they were,
Oh, this is the time? Before you were in a coma or after you got out of a coma?
No, this was after I was out of the coma, yeah. And they, told me that I wasn't going to be able to walk right. And if I was going to be able to walk, I would be using a cane for the remainder, the rest of my life. And then I was in a wheelchair for a few weeks after that. But not only that, they told me I wouldn't be playing any sports or anything like that ever again. I don't need to be riding a bicycle. I don't need to be, all these things. I'm going, what? What can I do? I mean, geez. So I was just sitting there looking up. But when I was looking at those pictures and everything on the wall, I was just thinking, man. I looked over and I seen the cords. And all those cords were hooked up to me, and that was pretty much the life right there. I'm going, wow, I could just end it all, right now. And those thoughts went through my head, and I'm going. But then about that time, I could hear God. I was praying, and I had so many people praying for me. Thank the good Lord, because that's why I am here. That's why you're here. That's why everybody's alive. But something inside me just really, said, no, you don't need to worry about that. You can do what you want to do, and you can do it. So I just stuck to that, and from then on, I got better and better, and I learned how to walk by myself. I started talking. I started doing everything a lot better, and I made a full recovery. I mean, it was unbelievable. The doctors, there's a write-up in the 417 magazine, I think it was June 2009 edition, and there's a big write-up in there on it. And, that's the one thing, don't let anybody, especially doctors, guys in white coats, don't let them tell you what you can or can't do or what is possible.
Right.
Anything is possible.
Anything and everything. Hey, did you ever say, why me? Why did this happen to me?
No. Yeah, those thoughts obviously went through my head, but at the time it was just like, at that time, that's what it all was. Oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? Holy cow, that's all you can think about. But then, after going through that and coming out on the other side and realizing the bigger picture later on in life, I look at it now and it's a lesson. It's a life lesson, right? You got to look at it and assess the situation and see what choices I made to put myself in that position to make, to have that outcome for what it was. And it was unbelievable, the fact that, I am here, I am alive. I give thanks to the Lord every day for it, and He is the sole reason why I'm here and you're here. And we all need to just continue to help one another, right? And just be happy and positive and loving towards one another. And I have so many more life experiences that I could go on and talk to you about here, but
you could have given up, and you could have listened to the doctors, and you could have let that sit in and said, well, okay, I guess I'll be a vegetable. I guess I'll be in a wheelchair. Okay.
Right. Too much willpower. I'm not going to let anyone tell me, it's just not, it's not up to them. It's up to you and God. That's it.
Right. Absolutely. We all have choices. All have, certain things happen. Like Jonathan had this horrendous accident, but it was his choice to do what?
Drive fast.
That's right. So he made the ultimate choice to get him into the situation that he was in. But, he didn't make the choice. Oh, I'm going to have a wreck today. But no. A lot of people say, well, I didn't make that choice, Lynnette. It just happened to me. But you did.
Yep.
Even I made the choice. No, it was horrible what happened to my son. I made the choice. Now, I couldn't help what I did when I was a little child, but I made a choice of how healthy I was going to keep my body. Of course, I didn't know what I didn't know. We didn't know about holistic and organics back then, but the point is we all make a choice in our life to determine what is going to happen in our life. It can be good, it can be bad, and we may think we're making a good choice, or we're just going with our instincts or whatever, or we're just going by the seat of our pants, which I am very notorious for doing that. But, even Jonathan said that, or he made his choice. Right. But anyway, we just want to let you all know that you can change your stars.
Yep.
Absolutely. Jonathan changed his stars. Cody changed his stars. You can do the same.
You can do it.
It's not as dire as you think that it is or want it to seem like. And it is getting dark out here on us. We do apologize for that.
Sorry.
The sun went down really fast
quick.
on
I was
us.
like, wow.
Sorry about that, but you can at least hear our message. Please, again, share this message with the world. People might want to know, and they want to know how you can overcome certain things with willpower and with just deciding, this is not how my story is going to end. This is not how my story is going to begin. I'm going to end this part of the story, but I'm going to get the pen and paper, and I'm going to write a new story for my life. You can do this. We can help you, show you how to do this.
Yes, we
Anything
can.
is possible.
Anything is.
Everything is possible.
Don't allow
With God,
yourself
all things
to,
are possible.
Yeah.
And we can help you find that. If you do not believe in God, okay, you know what? We can help you find your freedom in life.
Yeah.
Just come on over, follow us at fuelforthebody.net, click on the Art of Restoration, and let us guide you through the life experience of a lifetime.
That's right.
That sounded really good. The life experience of a lifetime.
Yes.
Anyway.
Why?
Because you're amazing.
You're awesome.
You're beautiful.
And you are loved.
From us to you, had the most blessed and prosperous and will powerful day in life ever.
Yes.
Were they?
Were they?
I don't know how to stop it. But we'll have to cut it off.